Hi everyone, it's Emma Noel. Today I wanted to talk about cult members leaving cults and exactly what happens to them after they leave. And this is based off of a recent testimony released by an ex-Scientologist. And I think it's important to note as well that this doesn't just happen in one or two cults. This is usually for every cult out there, what she went through. And she's going to describe that in detail in a couple of these articles. So first, what is Scientology? Scientology, many of you may know, a lot of famous people belong to it, such as Dougie Fresh, Bijou Phillips, Christopher Masterson, Danny Masterson, Laura Prepon, Jason Doring, Christy Alley, Erica Christensen, and the list goes on and on. Jenna Elfman, she's going to be mentioned in this article as well. But they all are very materialistic people who claim to be a church, but really just represent worldly people worshiping the world and worldly things. It's all about money in this particular society. So another ex-Scientologist writes a scathing essay about why she left the church. Scientologists have no boundaries, and their cruelties exclude no one. Here's a picture of her with her ex-husband. Actress Carmen Llywelyn spent 8 years immersed in the Church of Scientology. Since leaving, she penned an essay for Gawker entitled Why I Left Scientology that details her troubling history with the religion. The reality of Scientology is deceptively hidden and cleverly disguised. When I look at Scientology today, I have to forgive myself for not seeing through the manipulation sooner, she writes. It hasn't been easy, but I've realized that the religion is built on a foundation of violence. Very interesting. I wonder what happens behind closed doors. Carmen's ex-husband, actor Jason Lee, my name is Earl, anyone, introduced her to the church. When Carmen, 41, set foot in the church's celebrity center at age 20, she describes getting a horrible feeling, but she pursued the religion to save her marriage. When I think back, I believe a part of me knew if I didn't accept Scientology, the marriage would be over before it even started. Regardless of how different I feel about Jason and Scientology today, I was very much in love with the guy and wanted our marriage to work. I did what I thought was right, but I made the mistake of immersing myself completely in his world. I did what so many other people who join Scientology do. I lost all sense of individual identity in the name of the cult. This is just the basic mind control that many cults put their members through, manipulating them, and usually they have quite a bit of dirt on every single member so that if they ever try to leave, they will spread terrible rumors, they'll ruin their lives, and usually the person will not be able to be employed. Things will very much go downhill for them in their lives all at once. And that's how a lot of these secret societies keep their members. Number one, sometimes they have so much dirt on the people that they'll go to jail if they leave. This is just more and more proof coming out in the mainstream media that this is what's happening behind closed doors. Scientology is a more public society than many of the others, but it is not unlike the others, as it is very wrapped up in materialism and worldly things like money. As we kept going, it occurred to me how unreal and expensive Scientology was going to be. She said, adding that she realized that membership would cost her upwards of $50,000. To me, Scientology seemed more of a surreal lifestyle for the privileged than a kind of belief system. So here we see her with her ex-husband again. This is kind of iffy just because she's doing the one eye symbolism, but they could have the same symbolism as other societies like the Illuminati. However, she wouldn't dare express her feelings. You'd never think that speaking your mind could get you in that much trouble. But if you knew that the average Scientologist's perspective was on friendships, you'd understand, she writes. In Scientology, your friend can become your worst enemy overnight. So this continues in her essay. She describes the awful sensation when her closest confidants, including actress Jenna Elfman, turned on her after she was deemed a suppressive person or the worst thing you can be in Scientology. I'm going to go to her original letter now and I'm going to skip through some of the main parts where she describes how she got into it, and I'm just going to concentrate on what happened to her once she decided to leave. This is the type of thing, it's almost like a gang, like the initiation rituals. You have to join, and then once you join, it's very, very difficult to get out. This is from the original article on Gawker. When I first started Scientology, I figured I'd likely have to do something pretty bad in the religion's eyes to earn the suppressive person label. Something horrible like killing someone or printing fake money, I don't know, something truly criminal. I wouldn't have ever dreamed that I would one day earn this distinction because I read a book, A Piece of Blue Sky by former Scientologist John Attic, which forever changed my life. That opposed the church's beliefs. So here we go. She was breaking her initial mind control that they had implanted or instilled in her through numerous classes that she talks about. Most people know the only view you'll see of a Scientologist once they disconnect from you will be their backs. Before I disconnected with them, I still got along with Jason as long as I agreed with his and the church's demands. But when I revealed over the telephone to my talent manager, Gawker, that I'd read an anti-Scientology book, it started the chain of events that led me to being disconnected with everyone I had known. Suddenly, my entire life got stolen out from under me. My entire support structure shattered. Nothing that I knew was ever the same. I lost Gay, Jason, and every friend and source of love I knew besides my family in Georgia, 3,000 miles away. I was completely on my own, and not one of them cared. What I didn't expect to happen was that Gay would get my agent at the United Talent Agency to drop me. Or at least that's what she told me in her disconnection letter I received 2 days after the phone call. So I had no way of even getting work. I was supposed to start over. So here we see that she has left Scientology and her life was pretty much ruined right off the bat. They didn't waste any time in just dropping her, getting rid of her job, disconnecting her from everyone in that society. You can only imagine how painful that would be, especially when you thought they were your friends. And then she talks here about how she disconnected and they sent her letters just saying, we're disconnecting from you. Very like formal, odd letters. Scientology has a sophisticated intelligence agency known as the Office of Special Affairs, which is essentially a complex system dedicated to ruining the lives of those it sees as enemies in any way possible. Those who work for the OSA do not follow the law. This sounds so much like gang stalking and the psychological warfare that they put you under when you're a gang stalked victim. And that's what I've been exposing in my psychological warfare series. I didn't believe any of this was real until I left and started to do research in an attempt to figure out the strange things that were happening to me and my family. Like how and why my former best friend suddenly knew about everything about my personal life, and why she felt compelled to involve herself in it. There was more. Vicious rumors were being spread about things I had said only while in session, which I was made to believe were private. Some rumors I knew could only come from certain people like Jason. I got followed all the time. People in public would loudly discuss a conversation I had just had in private, word for word. Similar things occurred on social media. This is called street theater, and this is one of their tactics to make you feel like you have no private time, that you are never alone, you are always watched at all times. So you may be in one room where you think no one could ever hear you, and you go out of your house and all of a sudden some random person on the street is talking about the exact same thing, completely out of context, talking about the exact same thing to the very core, to the details of what you were saying in that room that you thought was private. This is their tactics to make you feel like you are always being watched. You are always monitored. You are never alone. You never have any private time. It makes you look paranoid if you give in to it. This is what they're doing not only to people leaving secret societies, but also people who they are testing on. Psychological warfare, we see this with Jade Helm coming in as well. Scientologists have no boundaries and their cruelties exclude no one. From my experience, Fair Game's main tool is mind games. They're very good at it, and they play with your emotions. I've found they skirt the law and use methods like electronic surveillance and cell phones to monitor a person's every word and every move. Once again, gang stalking. These people are hired. They pay people off to get this stuff done so that you feel surrounded, like there's no way out. You'd think I'd get a divorce from a Scientologist and realize that Scientology was bunk, but brainwashing doesn't go away like that, and especially that fast. I wish it did. I was interested in knowing the truth about Scientology, but couldn't get past the idea that in doing so, I would be reading something so horribly wrong that I'd explode or something, so I decided to read A Piece of Blue Sky. As I began, I had a gut reaction. This finally was the truth. This set off a process that I like to call the unraveling. My unraveling still isn't over. I don't know if it ever will be, and I love the fact that I've finally gotten to the point of accepting this. Just like Scientology, these other societies are slowly indoctrinating their members. They'll start out with level 1 and then get them to agree to one thing. Once they agree to that thing, they'll go to level 2, the second degree, the third degree, all the way up. They'll just keep moving them up, and the more that they accept, the higher they get in the society, and the more business opportunities, money opportunities, and what have you, any kind of relationship will be higher. They'll be able to get access to that with the higher degree that they get. No one imagines themselves so fragile to ever let something as sinister as a cult take control of their minds. I didn't think anyone would ever tell me how to think and when to think it. We all believe we're above such thing, and only stupid people would fall for that. But there are no choices in Scientology. There never were. It is all a ruse. In truth, after I left Scientology, I had to learn how to think for myself again, to speak for myself again. It's very different from the language Scientology promotes in its advertisements. Think for yourself. That's another thing. They'll promote this is all for you. You're going to gain so much success and everything from joining us and this and that, and they suck people right in. I was watching these advertisements for Freemasonry. How they were promising these young men that they were going to have just these fantastic lives and everything was going to change and they were going to be successful and have money and the secrets of the universe and everything. All this magical stuff was just going to happen right out of the gates for these people once they joined. And that's true, but it's also very worldly knowledge and very worldly success. So she is now happy. She has moved on. She has a family in Atlanta. Things are going good for her. And she says that she does hope to be of service to other survivors who have suffered through the experience of predatory cults. So I thought this would be an interesting article to go over because it not only exposes Scientology, but it's further proof and evidence of what is going on around us with the gang stalking and the psychological warfare that many people are under. That once you know the truth, you are labeled as a risk to the people that control the United States and other nations. They don't want people waking up. And once people wake up, they feel the need to control them somehow. So they'll end up recruiting them into secret societies like this, where they can put another level of mind control on them. So very good for her because she did get out and she's being successful now. She got a second chance in Atlanta and things are going good for her. So this is a success story. But it is very interesting. If you guys want to read the rest of the article, I'll leave both of the links in the description. Thank you so much for watching and listening. This is Emma Noel signing off.